just look at that. Now, I don't want to lose this baby, so it won't bloom until next year, of course, but just look at those blooms. Those are just absolutely gorgeous. Who in the world could not love orchids? So I'm going to put my camera back on the tripod, and we're going to get to potting these ladies. And I want you to look. I hope I can salvage this. This is just totally not doing well at all. This one hasn't been touched. It's still in there. And like I said, my alcohol pad, and this is the Repot Me. This is the medium that I'm going to be using today and working with. And this was quite pricey, but my orchids are worth it. So I'm going to be working with a couple of boxes here. And I'm going to take this particular box, an old Amazon box, and I am going to put each orchid in this particular box to take the old bark chips out and destroy all of that and put new ones in. So when I take them out, I'm going to lay the orchids gently across my counter. And then when I repot them, I'm going to use this flat little box right here to put each container in. And then I will have my chips so I can load them in there, gently pack it around. So if any fall out, then it's going to be in my box. Do you see the air holes in this? And it's raised on the bottom, so you can see that they get plenty of drainage. But you see the air holes. Come here. Orchids cannot survive in that. They have to have air. They get all the air. And these are the saucers that come with it. So it just fits right on there like that. Just like that. It's that simple. And it's going to be virtually impossible for me to get with my iPhone. It's going to be virtually impossible for me to get my head in that video and show you what I'm doing at the same time. And this is the only box that I could come up with, so I hope that you can see what I'm doing. And again, I have already taken my scissors, my alcohol pad. You can buy these in these little alcohol pads, and I've disinfected my scissors that I'm going to cut the dead air roots off of there. And I have my trusty trash can right here. So I'm going to take this and squeeze the pot. And this particular one I have kind of taken out earlier. And I'm going to dump that right in there. And I apologize for the noise, but there's no way to do this without making some noise. And can you see that? Can you see that? There's a lot of roots. Now, I don't know what's going to be good and what is going to have to be cut, but you can see that, how dry it is. And then there's a big down underneath. The growers just worry about, you know, they sock the fertilizer to them, and they worry about getting them to us to buy them. So, you know, we have to take care of them when we get home. Can you see what I'm doing? And when you pick it up, do you see how that stakes? You see the two stakes. Anybody that knows orchids, grows orchids, knows what I'm talking about. They stake them to make them stand up. But their natural habitat is to grow over like that, because the air circulation, how they're going to grow. But I'm going to keep the stakes on it. So when you take them out of the little plastic pot, you want to pull them by you don't want to pull them by the leaves. You want to get your hands on these stakes, and there's little clips there that keeps it going up. So I'm just going to continually I'm going to show you how I'm going to do one, and I can't possibly each do every one, but I'm going to show you how I do one. You see, I'm gently just loosening this medium down here. And I want to show you something. Can you see down underneath there? There is a little piece of something that they have started this plant with. And I'm going to pull that off. And that is just so tiny, how it started. It is so tiny. And I'm going to pull every bit of that and break all of that off. It's just like a little mixture. And oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Orchids are very easy to grow. Most people think they are hard to grow. They are not. They like very little moisture. I think the biggest thing that I have found, my experience with orchids, people want to give them too much water. They don't take a lot of water. They thrive on, they have to have some moisture, of course, but they thrive on air. If you have ceiling fans in your house to keep them running, that's what keeps them going. They like light, not sunlight, but they do like light. Like us, we don't like rainy days every day. We have to have sunlight, you know, but just look at that. Now, when I get into that, I don't know what I'm going to cut and what I'm going to salvage, but look at all the roots. Look at all that. There's a lot that are dead. They look healthy, but one tip that I have learned over the years, if I mash this root and it's squishy, then it needs to go. If it's got a squeeze to it and it's kind of mushy, then it needs to be cut off because it's too much moisture. There's a lot of these that are not like that because this one is just so dry. It's just so dry. So that is one tip. If it's squishy and it's too much moisture, then definitely, you know, get it off. But so anyway, I'm going to cut what I need to. I've gotten all of the old medium that I wanted to take off of that. These are the roots that I'm going to salvage. And you can see there's some that's really stuck there. And I actually have found somewhere along here, there's actually a new shoot coming out right there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm being very careful with this foliage. I have my new box here. I have my medium, my Repot Me medium. I bought this with my own money. I'm not doing anything of a collaboration, a review, or anything like that with this particular company. These are my orchids. They were a gift for Valentine's Day from Hubby. I purchased this Repot Me from Amazon, and I purchased my pots from Amazon. So first of all, I am going to try to take a little bit of this and put it in the bottom of the pot. And put a little bit right there to start. And you can see there's all kinds of stuff there. As I showed you, there's almost... And like I said, I'm not an expert at this. I don't claim to be. It's just, this is my favorite flower and I love orchids. So I want to, depending on your pot size, how many you want to put in there. So I'm going to start with that. And then I'm going to set my orchid plant down in here. And I'm going to leave some out because some of them are going to want to hang out. Put the plant over to my sink, and I got my water temperature just the way I wanted it, with the right, not cold. And I drenched the roots, the air roots. I drenched those and give them a good soaking. And you don't want to get any down in the center of the plant there. You don't want to do that. So you just gently get this up here. I have to pour some out. Yes, I have a beauty decorating lifestyle channel, but this is lifestyle, I guess, a little bit of everything. And you want to take it by the handful, and you just want to gently put a little bit at a time and kind of shake it. And make sure those stakes are down in there. You don't want to pack it, just keep turning it and just kind of pounce it like that, just to let all this settle down in there. And just keep turning it. Now, if you don't like orchids, this, like I said, may bore some of you that are on my channel strictly for beauty, skincare, decorating. But we're decorating, we're making beautiful orchids, so we're repotting these babies. So I'm on to my last beautiful lady that I'm going to repot rather. And see what I'm doing? I'm squeezing this grower container, and that's exactly what I'm doing, is just squeezing it. And I'm wearing gloves, and I'm going to pick it up by these 2 stakes, not the leaves. I'm going to pick it up by the stakes and then pull. You don't want to pull it on the leaves. And just look at that. A disaster ready to happen for your orchid. You don't want that. You want to take care of these babies. Just look at that. And you can see that little tiny thing that they started the seed with right there, and we're still in there. And it looks like it's quite a healthy orchid. It just needs some TLC. So Lee's gonna put this one out of intensive care and be its nurse and nurse it back to health here. So I will see you in just a little bit. I have got this particular one that I started finished, and this is what she looks like now. Like I said, I'm having to stoop. I'm filming with my phone. So look at the blooms on this one. This is the one with the gorgeous blooms. And this is what it looks like now. She's in her pot, and look how I have left some of the roots kind of up here to where they can get some air. And I have again, the pot has holes for it can get air circulation so it can survive. And when I took her out of the pot, like I said, I took her over to my sink, and I got my temperature just right, not too cold, not too hot. And I drench, not the leaves, and don't get any water down in here, but I just drench the roots, really give them a good watering before I put it in here. And when I water my orchids, I always water them depending on the season. They get less in the winter than they do in the summer with the humidity and everything. Just common sense, you know. I usually water mine a few ounces every couple of weeks, depending. Like I said, I hope I can salvage these, and I do use a fertilizer to keep but I don't want to do it, and I don't want to do it now. And I can see some new shoots coming out here, and always remember to get it by these stakes. And I just had a piece of raffia, a piece of twine that I tied because they wanted to separate like they were. So I'm just going to get a piece of raffia, or jute, a twine or something there. Who cares? I mean, I can spruce that up later, but at least it keeps it from falling. But this is what she looks like when I finished with her. And I think by the end of the day, maybe tomorrow, her leaves are going to kind of spruce up. And she's in her happy home. So she is going to survive. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure this particular beautiful lady survives. And I've got the tray that comes with these pots, and I'm going to set it right there. I'm going to work on 2 more, and you can see, as I showed you earlier, when you take them out, when you lift them out, this is the grower pot. There's no air. You want to lift it by this stake. You don't want to lift it by the leaves or this. And as you can see on this particular one here, we got some new leaves coming out. I wish I could zoom in there real close, but you see there's a leaf there, and there's a leaf right here. And you want to watch your stakes and make sure that when you've got it staked with these little clips here, that you don't have the stake in the way of the new leaf coming out that's going to maybe make it grow crooked or not grow at all. But there's a new one right here. There's some new ones coming out. And so you can see how they're all root bound in there. But when I start to plant it, or in the next pot, I'm going to squeeze this in my first pot over here to get rid of all of that debris. Just look at that, what come out of there, all those roots and all that medium. But I'm going to kind of gently squeeze it to kind of loosen the up. It kind of helps, like if you're planting outside and, you know, you get a pot that's kind of root bound and you kind of squeeze it to maybe help it out of the pot. So plant this particular beauty, and I am going to plant this one as well. This is the pot that it came in from the big box store where he purchased it. And this is the pot that it came in. All it done was serve a purpose, was to get it there. And this is what that one looks like as well. So I'm going to replant these ladies, and I will be back with you shortly. I have repotted all 3 of my beautiful ladies, and I have got them all done. And I have worked for a couple of hours, but you know, it's going to be so worth it. It's going to be so worth it. So just look at these girls, these ladies rather, they're not girls. This one I had to tie with this twine because I was out of raffia. So that'll be okay. That'll be perfectly fine until I can get her, till I can pick up some more and retie her. You can do a ribbon, anything that won't cut into the orchid stem that's going to damage it. So I'm going to plan on doing that this next week. I will run in and I will pick up some, I like to use raffia and just tie it real pretty, and it always looks good. And this is this one, and they're all in their pots. You see the air holes, and you see the moss and the chips and everything in there. I left some roots hanging out so they can get some air. And my ceiling fan is going. And this particular one here, the last one I done, I was out of little even twine. So what I done, these wanted to separate really, really bad and pull. So I didn't have any more. So what I done is I just got a couple, 3 trash bag ties and twisted it. And I've got it right here on the, this. So I just tied it very, very loosely. And I've got myself a note. So this next week I'm going to get some raffia and tie that. But just look how she's standing up there. Some arrow roots are out, you know, out here. So she's going to be super, super happy along with her friends as well. So it takes a couple of hours to get into this. Not quite, because I had to go back and forth with my meatloaf, but I replanted the 3. The Repot Me that I told you about, potting mix that I order. And this is the potting mix I always use when I repot my orchids. I always use this particular one. It's just me. It's what I've used. I like it. And again, I'm telling you what works for me, my friends. And that particular bag will repot 3 orchids in this size pot. And with every bag, they send you a little tag. They send you a tag so you can stick that down to the side, just like any other plant, and it's got their phone number, and they've got orchid supplies, and you can date it when you potted it and when it blooms, and you can put that on there with a little tiny magic marker, and you can stick that right down to the side, and then you know what is this and what is that. And they always send you a little clip. This one just happens to be a little butterfly clip that they'll send different things. This one just has to be a pink butterfly, and you just clip that to hold it. You just clip it right along there to make it kind of stand up. And I've got little hummingbirds, I've got butterflies, in the past I've got all kinds of little things. And they're quite nice, but they always add that little extra. And I hope I haven't bored you, but I have showed you my beautiful 3 orchids that I received for Valentine's Day this year of 2023. And at least they are in a good, happy medium. They're out of those little grower pots that they send that, you know, to the big box stores. I think these came from Home Depot, I'm not sure, or Lowe's, but I believe they came from Home Depot. But anyway, I want to thank you for hanging out with me today and watch me plant my beautiful, repot my 3 beautiful orchids. I used the Repot Me potting mix, and I wore my gloves, and I used my little trusty pair of scissors, cheap scissors. I didn't have my other ones over here that I normally use for that, and I took alcohol wipe and I disinfected the scissors between each plant to not contaminate. And I wore my disposable gloves, and I just have to rip those off and throw them in my trash can over here. Now I'm going to clean all this up. Thank you for watching today, Beauty Over 70 with Lee. It's a beautiful day here. It's going to be in the 70s here in Tennessee. I've got my sliding glass door open. I can hear the birds outside chirping, the sun shining. It's spring. And just go out and make today better than yesterday. And always remember that I love you. I thank you for watching the channel today. And if you haven't subscribed, I invite you to hit the subscribe button. Come back to see me. A new video uploaded next Thursday. Love you, my subscribers, my friends. Bye-bye.